I'm ready. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Audit and Control Committee meeting. We'll get started here. First item is the approval of minutes from 7/17. If we can get a motion.
So moved.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Privilege of the floor. We will open the floor and give privilege to anyone who would like to take advantage of the privilege of the floor being open. Seeing no one, we will take that privilege away at this time. So don't call out or raise your hand because the privilege is closed. All right, on to the resolutions. Proposed resolution number 1, amend the 2025 budget, North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District.
Good morning, Chad Marks, Deputy Director of Finance, here in place of Matt Olbeck, who is on vacation.
Oh, nice.
Good morning. What this is they actually, the sewer district had received a grant in 2024 to do some engineering work. The work wasn't completed in 2024, so this is just to reapprove or reapportion the money that was provided in 2024 over to 2025, so we can pay invoices.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
And just kind of going forward, we say we received $50,000 for engineering services. Engineering services from whom?
It was a state grant through the EFC
No, but who were the engineers?
that I don't have an answer for.
Okay, do
That's
we hire
something
some outside engineering firm?
Yes, it was an outside engineering service.
All right, so just, if we could, as we go forward on these things, when we do these petitions, I think we, as a committee and the legislature, ought to know who it is we're doing business with.
Noted.
Please.
Good point. Thank you, Fred. Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Oh, man. That brings us to proposed resolution number 2, amend the 2025 budget for Portland, Pomfret, Dunkirk Sewer District.
Good morning, Allison Vento. I'm Administrative Director for North Chautauqua Water and Sewer Districts. This resolution has been presented. The Water District has pump stations and the transfer switches and generators are in need to be replaced. Matt Allback, who's one of the directors, has prioritized the transfer switches that are most in need to prioritize them. So the district would like to use their fund balance to replace the one transfer switch at the first pump station, which is at 10232 Lakeside Boulevard. We do want to eventually replace all of them, but the board decided to tackle one first, the most important one. These places for these, or the parts for these transfer switches are obsolete because of how old they are. So the board would like to do one first, see how it goes, what the cost will be, and then we'll prioritize the rest throughout next year.
So the good news is they lasted long enough to be obsolete for parts. Any idea how long they've been in there?
30, 40 years, I think,
Okay.
way before me.
You know,
They were put in before I
before
took
you
over,
started
before I
working.
started, yes.
I'm sorry.
so they don't owe us anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, just a quick question. It says, whereas the district has accepted a quote. So
So-
that sounds to me like you're asking for validation of what's a shot bird already.
The board received a quote from Beck Electric to understand what our costs are going to be for the replacement of these switches.
Okay.
And that's what, the money is based off of what Beck Electric has given us as, for the installation and the parts.
So perhaps it ought to read, has received a quote, not accepted the quote.
Okay,
Because otherwise you would have contracted something and then come to us afterwards for approval, but I don't think that's what you mean.
no, it wasn't.
Okay, thanks.
So Beck Electric is not necessarily the ones that's going to do this.
I believe we are wanting to use Beck Electric because they're on the county contract list for electricians.
Okay. So Beck Electric.
There's already a contract in place with Beck Electric through the county.
All right, so just, if we could kind of change this to say has received a quote.
And accepted, sounds like.
Well, no, you can't do that unless we
Have
in the
quotes.
legislature say yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep,
if I could add to the conversation, any services that are procured by the county do follow the county's purchasing policies, as well as general municipal law. So in this case, we do have an outstanding bid for these services. And Beck Electric had won the bid through that process. So that allows them to use Beck Electric once this budget amendment is approved.
So it is an acceptance of the bid contingent on legislative approval.
No, we just know that we're gonna use electrical services from somebody, so we put out a bid every year for those services. So when we do need to hire an electrician, we have an electrician basically on,
Standby.
that's who we go to for those services, because we give them a list of general services that we might hire for. And then we put out a bid, and anybody that can provide those services puts out the bid. And that's who we have to use for that term of the bid.
Sorry, I get that if we do this, we'd use Beck Electric because they've gone through the process. But the decision as to whether or not to fund this has yet to be made, is that correct?
Correct, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Which is the resolution being brought
Very good.
forth for the legislator to consider, the PPD district to use some of their fund balance for
Gotcha,
this
good.
emergency
And
replacement.
hence my jibbing at the word accepted. Sorry, clear enough.
okay. So Fred, you want accepted taken out and put received there?
Well, I think that I would, because that is in fact, accepted would not be acceptable, whereas received is acceptable in terms of what we're actually doing.
Kitty, do you have any thoughts on that? Or have you already said it and I just don't understand?
All right, yeah, that's fine. They received a quote, and that's what I think that the point is that that's the basis of the dollar amount being used for the amendment.
Okay.
Yep, got it.
Well, in that case, I think that's a big change, so, Fred, you want to make a motion to amend it to?
So sure, I'll make a motion to change the word accepted to received, and I'd be happy with it on that basis.
Can we get a second on that?
Second.
Got a second by Tamara. All in favor of amending it to received, or striking accepted and putting in the word received, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we're talking about the amended resolution
Good for you.
that you have received on your desk. Okay, sorry. That was funnier than, you'll get it later. Any questions or comment on the amended version of the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Okay. Number 3. Amend the 2025 budget for payroll allocations, Portland, Pomfret, Dunkirk, Sewer District.
All right, this one is just a
It's an
simple
amended.
matter of just payroll allocations being changed. There's a contract between the North Chautauqua Lake Sewer District and the PPD to provide technical services. That was not budgeted for in 2025. It was budgeted solely to North Chautauqua Lake. So this is just to change the payroll allocations so that the payroll is correct and the budget is correct, allocating Matt Olbeck's portion of that to PPD.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, proposed resolution number 4, authorize of lease agreement with the Town of Chautauqua for office space for Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene.
Good morning. Trish McLennan, Deputy Director with Departmental Hygiene and Social Services. This is actually the lease renewal for right across the street at 2 Academy, the old school. There is no increase in the lease. There is no increase to the budget. And it is fully funded. There is no cost to local share or to the taxpayers. We fund it through both revenue and grant funding.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, so I'm jumping ahead now to the next one.
Yes.
And so you get it 75 cents a square foot across the street, but over in Jamestown, you want to pay $15 a square foot. Why don't we just move the Jamestown folks across the street? I
Actually,
mean,
there's
that's
no-
a huge
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, there is no space across the street. This actually, we've been very fortunate, I will say, with the town of Chautauqua on that floor, to have that. If you want, I can jump to the next
Well,
one that is.
leave
yeah,
that to the chairman. I was just
yeah.
rattled by the difference. We'll get to that on the next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do this one and then we'll move on. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Carried. That takes us to our next resolution. Authorize of lease agreement with City of Jamestown for office space for Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene and Social Services.
Yeah, so this actually is an exciting opportunity, and we will hit the cost in a second, but this is, we've been talking mental hygiene, social services. 2026 is the year of innovation. We know all in this room we're gonna need to be doing things differently based on some federal changes, and there'll be state changes confirmed the first week in September. We are choosing as a county to be proactive and reactive, not wait to be told what to do, but to make sure we are being efficient and innovative in our choices. So what we're proposing to do is to lease the 3rd floor of City Hall. Currently, Department of Mental Hygiene has our clinic on the 5th floor of City Hall, so we're in that. 3rd floor, you've already approved previously. Part of 3rd floor has health department on part of the 3rd floor too, that they are there. The mayor has been a good partner. City of Jamestown has been a good partner. We do have a current 5-year lease because of that, of the changes that have been made on that floor. So what we're looking at doing is combining truly innovative things. We are looking at, due to part of the changes that will be happening in our state and federal government, we're looking at combining several different programs. We would move mobile crises team from their current location where we're paying rent to that place. We will also move the new integrated mental hygiene social services home-based community outreach program to that site. We will also have a spot for the new funded Office of Mental Health court navigators that are being hired this calendar year to that spot. There's also a care coordinator that is new that needs a spot that starts 20 minutes ago. That will be in that place. And then on top of that, we have our homeless unit. So when you look at those names, even though I just threw a lot of different titles, what they all have in common is that they do outreach in our community to ensure and help make sure that we're reducing emergency room visits, that we're helping use Medicaid effectively, that we're helping make sure that homelessness is addressed and the social drivers of health is addressed. So those folks have to work together anyway, but we've never had them located. near each other. So we are looking at ways, we met a week ago Monday as Mental Hygiene and Social Services leadership to look at this under Colonel Hernandez's leadership. And we're looking at new innovative ways to partner together, new ways to maximize revenue, new ways to be more efficient. What I can tell you, this change will not have any impact on the 2025 or 6 budget. We'll be taking the lease money from the current mobile crisis, applying it to that. For social services portion, theirs comes as cost, administrative cost that the state already pays for. Part of them, they're already at SCOB, they'll be moving, freeing up space that is needed over at SCOB for other employees. So that will be funded. None of this will impact local share whatsoever. So when you're looking at the reduction at Warwick now for mobile crises, they pay currently $1,200 a month. So of the $26.99 estimated cost for City Hall, the 3rd floor, that reduces it down to $14.99. Some of those positions that we're putting in there are also billable, meaning we'll be billing services and outreach in the community, so that will help with the revenue too, which they would be needing to do anyway. We will not be having clients on that floor, so it doesn't need to be a licensed floor through Office of Mental Health or Office of Addiction Services. So that's the proposal, is to actually put people together, get on top of this now, because we'll be asked that first week in September, the state will be asked to be making some quick changes. And there's some potential cuts coming, and we want to make sure that this county is prepared for it.
All right, so what I hear here is simply
Yep.
kind of stage one is, this is a building we're already in, and this is a more efficient way of housing people. Fine. But then listening to what you have to say, I'm sorry, but it sounds like a bunch of camels' noses under tents in terms of getting out ahead of things. State's going to be requiring things. Essentially, you're foreshadowing more expenditures in this area, which that maybe is a separate subject, but I'd hope I'm not endorsing here.
Actually, we are not
This-
proposing any increase.
Not here, this is just, this is a lease
Yeah, the lease
setup.
will not be an increase in any of our current,
I understand.
yeah. Nor
But
will
just
the
from what you were saying, it sounds like you're foreshadowing more other expenditures coming in this area.
No, sir. What we're
No?
actually foreshadowing is some cuts to some, like HEAP, cuts to some other programs, which would then lead people to leave their current housing, not have housing, and Medicaid would go away for them if they cannot get Medicaid, need more emergency housing hotels. So these teams already exist, and these teams are funded either through the state or through billing. So to be able to actually help these folks meet the needs, stay on Medicaid if they qualify for Medicaid, that's what this team's for.
Yeah, but that sounds like the county's going to end up paying a bigger Medicaid bill or something.
No, we're not looking at increasing anyone at Medicaid. What's happening is that most likely the first week in September, we'll be hearing that HEAP benefits are over. I'm not saying if that's right or wrong, not here to do,
yeah.
I don't think any of us really are here to do that. But what that will do is, that could impact some families to say, then we can't afford our apartment or house.
Mhm.
We need emergency housing. That's what's gonna cost the county. So if more people need emergency
Those
housing.
services are mandated?
Yeah, we're gonna have to provide them, if they qualify, emergency housing. Those hotels are already full. We have 3 hotels already. They're full.
So
You
this
don't want to
falls
increase
under
that.
an unfunded mandate coming our way.
You got it. And you don't
Okay.
want more of that. So what we want to do, that's a preventative piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this isn't the committee for all of that, so I apologize.
Mhm.
It's hard when, I wanted to make sure you knew when we're asking you to be at a different floor.
Yeah.
It's very different than saying, we're already doing this, we're not changing.
Yeah.
It's very different when I come to you and say, we want to do something you don't hear about. You don't hear about us co-locating staff from the mental hygiene department and social services department on the same floor. You haven't heard us present that to you, by the way, ever. We're presenting it because then if there is that person that needs something, a mobile crisis has been called because the person's out in the community and law enforcement's with them and they're threatening suicide, and it turns out that something's happening regarding their Medicaid, we can bring the social services person with us and perhaps resolve it right there, prevent the additional cost. to the
No, I
county.
got it.
That's where that goes. But yes,
Okay,
yes,
so
sir.
5th floor will move down to?
No,
No.
you don't want to move 5th floor. 5th floor is full of outpatient clinic.
Okay.
We have like 40 people up there.
Okay.
So 5th floor stays where it is.
Mhm.
Warwick is another lease. So Warwick, Same location as Veterans Services, over on, it's over at Warwick on Fairmont. Thank you.
Fairmount, okay.
Okay, moving out of that completely. Okay, so there's one whole lease saved. Applying that to this floor, so moving that whole team out,
Okay.
moving several staff from SCOB that are already in SCOB out, because that space is needed too, moving them out.
Mhm.
The new team that's funded through Office of Mental Health for court navigators to reduce recidivism in the jails and diversion, putting that team in there, and putting the care coordinator in there that had to be hired anyway.
Mhm.
So all, but again, all funded already, not additional funds. It's gonna come out budget neutral or saving some dollars at the end of this.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So Trish, and I'm a little hoarse, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What impact is that gonna have on the homeless centers that you have and the hotels that you have? Help me
Okay,
understand.
absolutely.
Okay.
So there's two different categories of that, the emergency housing and the hotels that you hear about.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll be honest, I am not the actual expert on that. I'd rather have John Anderson or Carmelo Hernandez up down here, but for that topic, I can speak enough to it. So we do have hotels for emergency housing.
Mm-hmm,
Those fill up, they tend to fill up pretty quickly.
mm-hmm.
And then, but we are required to provide that for those who qualify, or those who have been kicked out of other things. So if we can prevent the need for that additional need, that's gonna save the county money. The other piece is, yes, we have the shelter, two shelters. We have the women's shelter through COI. We also have UCAN shelter from that. That, they could be impacted too, in a positive way. So if something's going on and somebody is struggling, we hear about sanctions under social services, meaning they did not comply with the state requirement, or maybe it's a drug screen, maybe it's attending an appointment, maybe it's completing a form, maybe it's showing up for 2 interviews in a month to help them get a job. So they're not doing this. It doesn't help the county just to have them off the Medicaid, because what that means, now you've got someone with no services clogging up emergency rooms, urgent cares. You can't turn them away. So now you're talking about paying for all of that. And you're talking about now the homeless increasing in
Mhm.
areas like Jamestown, Dunkirk, other areas.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we can actually decrease that and address it proactively instead of waiting for the crises, that's what these teams are about.
And your navigators are gonna,
The court navigators are new, funded by the New York State Office of Mental Health.
right.
So
mhm.
they'll be right in the courts. In fact, Carmelo talked with the family court folks yesterday, and they are excited, the judge is very excited about this. It's to
Mhm.
help, again, people adhere to the requirements, so they're doing the right thing. So that if there's an increase in work hours required for Medicaid, great, let's help make sure that they accomplish it. You know, so that people are working more and reducing some of the impact. Does that answer
Yeah,
it?
it
Okay.
absolutely does. Do you have the court navigators? Have you hired them? Have
We
you
are-
found them?
One position got posted last week, and the other one is, we are in the middle of interviewing for it. So, and we are meeting with the New York State Office of Mental Health in 2 weeks to talk to them more about that.
Okay.
So, yes,
So,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
just,
I know.
in the resolution, it says from another location.
Oh, that's the Warwick.
All right,
That's, yeah,
that's-
and SCOB, and SCOB.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for-
For some of those, yes.
for
Thank you for
explaining that,
asking
yeah.
that, yes. These whereas get a little bit boggy, don't they?
Yes, they do.
You're
We-
basically just centralizing
We are.
everything.
We
Yeah.
are. Should I just start with that? We are centralizing.
Right.
Can we
You're-
approve it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I may, this is a pontification. I'm fine with this. You're trying to be more efficient on your square footage.
Mhm.
But just listening to this, it sounds like we're in a position where we have a whole group of people who are, let's say, behaving dysfunctionally. But we're going, gee, if we don't help them behave at this level of dysfunctionality, then they're going to go to another level of dysfunctionality, which is going to cost us more money. And that in some ways sounds like extortion. Like, wait a minute, I'm behaving badly, but if you don't give me this, that, or the other, or help me with this, that, or the other, I'm going to behave worse. And that just My reaction to that is no. If you're gonna behave worse, tough. Now, I know there are realities on some people, but
And for those that really are doing it more for intentional, I would agree with you. There's also the side, and again, I know this isn't what I'm here to talk about, but my background is master's in counseling, so
Mhm.
many, many years working in behavioral health. There are illnesses and there are some pieces that happen to folks that they don't, kind of like, I don't think we'd say someone with dementia is to blame for the things they're doing. And I don't want to get too much into it, because I know
Sure,
we
it's
could
just
keep
not-
going, but I'd
yeah.
be happy to talk with you sometime about
Okay.
it too. It is something that's, I feel pretty strongly about just because of the work I've done for 33
Right.
years, but.
I mean, we should talk about it
I would love to.
offline, but,
I live in Westfield too, I would love to,
okay.
okay?
Thanks. Good.
Yeah, I'll just comment, I have a long history with you, in the healthcare field, so I know what you're doing and how passionate you are, with the, behavior health, functions and issues in Jamestown and Chautauqua County. And I commend you, for all that you have done and I've seen you do. And so, I definitely will, support centralizing those services so that you can be more efficient and you and your team can be more efficient.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay,
Any other questions?
anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Trish. Proposed resolution number 6, authorize public hearing on lease with the Federal Aviation Administration for antenna and equipment space within terminal building at Chautauqua County, Jamestown Airport.
Tim Carr, Director of Public Facilities.
Good morning, John McNamara, Airport Manager. So this is a lease renewal with the Federal Aviation Administration of approximately 588 square feet in our terminal building in Jamestown. The FAA uses the space for antenna and radio communication, navigation equipment that's essential for the airfield as well as the airspace. It's a 10-year term commencing October 1st, 2025, ending September 30th, 2035, for the amount of $5,000 annually to the airport.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I may again.
You may.
I apologize. So I just noticed in some of these other ones, we're happily agreeing to 4% per year lease increases when we're paying the lease. But here we are now as the lessor agreeing to a flat amount over 10 years, which is by year 10 is a 30% reduction or more in real terms. Is there a kind of, is this different departments? If we're going to be paying above inflation on lease terms when we're buying, I'd like to see us have the same kind of terms when we're selling, or vice versa. Because, this is a win, how do you say, heads I win, tails you lose on the lease business in these couple of resolutions. Now yours is 10 years, no increase. Why wouldn't we have at least an inflationary increase?
Good point. Good point. We have a long history with the FAA there at the airport, and so that, I think, plays into that decision, but that certainly, you make a good point on that.
Anyway, that's all there is to that.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Proposed resolution number 7. Acceptance of funds from the FAA and DOT for the design phase of the project for the reconstruction of the terminal apron at the Chautauqua County Jamestown Airport.
So this project involves reconstruction of the terminal apron at the Jamestown Airport. Pavement management study was completed back in 2019, which indicated marginal pavement condition, which is likely to continue to deteriorate in the apron area. Deterioration requires also crack sealing patching directly out of our county budget, and is only a temporary fix. The reconstruction will support a continued Part 139 certification to ensure the surface is adequate. The Airport Commission has recommended acceptance of funding, and County Resolution 34724 authorized application for federal and state aid as part of the airport's 5-year capital improvement plan. It's funded federally, federal share is 95%, state share is 2.5%, and the county share is limited to 2.5%.
Questions, comments, concerns?
So, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. This is just for the design phase of this?
Yes, sir.
So for $212,000, the taxpayers are buying paper, a report, drawings?
So
No work here, this is just design.
Design phase.
design, yes.
The higher
To,
net-
to design
higher
the
engineering tell
repaving
us
of
what
an
to do.
apron.
Reconstruction.
Just, the reconstruction of an apron. How big is this apron? 100 by 100?
No, bigger than that.
That's bigger than
Also, but it's the flat place out in front of the hangars.
that. Right.
Well, it's out front of the terminal, but it also extends for our tenants, Centric, Chautauqua Aircraft Sales.
Sure,
So
okay.
it's a sizable area of the airport.
Granted, the feds are paying for this, and God bless you for getting the grant, but it just, and I'm gonna have this comment on a couple other ones. So first of all, who's doing the design?
CNS.
CNS, okay. And who put that out to bid? Did we put it out to bid, or did the feds? In other words, who managed,
So we haven't bid the project yet.
I mean, for just the design, who, is it the county who dealt with CNS to come up with these numbers, or the feds?
The county contracts with CNS.
So, okay,
as
so
for a portion of the airport projects.
And do you think $212,000 for just the design is reasonable?
But one thing I'd like to just try to keep in mind too is, it's not $212,000 to CNS. There's many subs involved too,
Sure,
with-
but
with
at the end of the
projects
day,
like-
we got a work plan, we got a book.
Yeah, so I hear you. It's a bigger number. There's some things there's quite a few things that go into the design and the construction. A lot of requirements regarding participation by different groups, which, tracking that and ensuring that's complied with. The specs, the FAA requires specific, very detailed specifications and has detailed parameters on tolerances for construction.
But
So-
this, sorry, but this hopefully isn't CNS's first rodeo on knowing what the FAA specs are. And they've probably done it any number of other places, and they ought to be able to pull it off the shelf and go, here you go. Again, it's just, and I'm picking on this one, but I'll pick on a couple others. We keep paying lots of money for designs, which again, there's going to be a project that's going to then follow this, which is supposedly going to be way more money. So while we're talking about it on the front end, I'm just, and again, I congratulate you for getting federal aid. Wonderful, but still, it just seems pricey.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'd like to comment that every project I have looked at this last year has been higher than I anticipated, okay? Is this 212,000, in your opinion, reasonable? If it's reasonable and within the kind of industry standard, then, I realize it's very high, but I have seen every project be high, in my opinion, compared to where it used to be. So what's your opinion on this? Is this reasonable?
So I think we can all agree, you know, costs are going up, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
feel that in our pockets. Yeah, I do feel it's reasonable.
Yeah, okay.
I think that, you know, bigger than me, you know, that's supported by the FAA. So the FAA is paying 95% of this project,
Right.
right? So that, they're aware of what the design costs. We're one of hundreds of airports around the country.
Exactly.
That the FAA is funding projects for. So they have a keen eye for the engineering that's involved with projects like this, the drawings, the oversight, all that. So if, I certainly have trust in the fact that if the number was askew, that the FAA would recognize that because they have the most skin here in this project.
Exactly. And that was what I was getting at. I mean, as long as it's reasonable and comparative to others, you know, I mean, cost is going up everywhere.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, no, I mean, it's federal funds, and I guess the only other thing was, what other engineering services other than CNS did we consider for estimating this?
So we've partnered with different, multiple engineers in the past for different projects. We don't exclusively use CNS for projects.
Sure.
We generally lean on CNS for our Jamestown Airport projects, at least currently. And there is value with that. There is value with the familiarity with the airport, value with understanding the engineering side, the funding side with the FAA. So, you know, and there's a lot of unique issues there or circumstances. So, you know, well, it may seem like we could use any engineer for paving, right? There's definitely benefit to having an engineering firm that has familiarity with the airport, really has the expertise working with the FAA, their engineering team, partnering together to review the design, the engineering aspect, all of that, along with us at the airport.
Also, they know our 5-year plan. They've worked with us on all that to kind of put all this together.
So they're a trusted partner.
Very much so.
Yes.
Got you.
So I hear all of that. I can see how that would work day to day. My experience in 40 years of business with trusted partners, insurance companies, you name it, is the frog in the hot water thing, which is they keep raising their rates above inflation. They're good guys. They're easy to work with. They know stuff. And 10 years down the track, you go, how in the hell did I get so far over market on this thing? And that is the track record. I mean, when you look at any kind of service organization, mission, objectives, that's what they're trying to do. That's their business model. And we as buyers of those services need to make sure that we're not that frog in that water that's getting hotter than inflation.
Understood.
Yeah.
Anything else? If not, all in favor?
Right.
Right.
Opposed? I'll just go on record that I was opposed in public facilities. So I guess that carries through to this committee. Proposed resolution number 8, acceptance of funds from the FAA and DOT for the construction phase of the project for the replacement of 34 airfield guidance signs at the Chautauqua County Jamestown Airport.
Thank you. So this is construction of the airfield guidance signs at Jamestown, 34 of them. Replacement should result in less maintenance, less energy use, and savings due to the LED bulbs and new signage. Will certainly enhance safety. And as part of our Part 139 certification, it's essential that we make these upgrades to the signs to maintain compliance and ensure the highest level of safety. The Airport Commission has recommended and accepted funding in the County Resolution 34724 authorized application for federal and state aid as part of the airport's 5-year capital improvement plan Again, 95% federal share, 2.5 state, and 2.5 local.
So what are guidance? So I'm a pilot, I use the airport or have from time to time. When you say guidance signs, you're not talking about the VASI system or the rabbit coming up on the runway. You're talking about the actual metal signs that say taxiway hold, the rest of that.
Yeah, so the VASI, or the PAPI, and things like that, that's all maintained by the FAA. With the first lease that we went through, the office space, they have all their equipment to maintain those systems at Jamestown, as well as the surrounding airspace in that space. This resolution is specific to the airport guidance movement signs, so taxiway signs, runway signs, ILS critical area signs, hold short signs, those signs.
So this is, if I do the math right, this is coming up on, what, $10,000 a sign? What's 470 divided by 34? I mean, they're nice signs, but really? It just seems like a lot. Again, it's federal money, most of it, and then again, my question is, we came up with these numbers, or the feds came up with these numbers? We did, right?
So these are, so this is a project that's put out to bid.
Right,
So we take the design that we had done previously.
right, and this
we
is the
put
bid.
that out to bid. This is the bid. And then that bid is reviewed by the FAA as well as the airport.
Yeah, it's $13,000 a sign. Just boggles the mind. For whatever one of these things are, 2 feet by 6 feet.
Depends
Metal,
on-
they're very nice, but-
Depends on the sign,
Sure.
yeah, so
But you're-
some may be around that dimension, some may be larger, some may have several bulbs, you know.
Sure. All right, yeah, if the feds are okay with it and they're funding it, but boggles the mind, anyway.
But when you say the feds,
One thing to consider too, you know, we don't just, and I'm not suggesting this is, or nor am I making an assumption, but, you know, there's an element of purchasing a sign, right? There's a cost associated with that. Then there's a cost to install the sign. You know, we don't just stick them on the ground, right? We have to have footings in place. We have to run electric, you know, connections, things like that. So there's more to it than just off the shelf, put a sign here.
Yeah, I mean, without going into it, I mean, I trust you on that, but my vision is there are existing signs there, but for most of them which are gonna come out and be renovated, the wiring out there is there. Now, if you're rewiring the whole airport, okay, then you're running all sorts of miles of wire, but,
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting they need to rewire everything for the signs, but I'm just saying connection-wise, things like that. I mean, it's, they're,
right. And again, you got the grant, congratulations on that, I'm just jibbing at the cost.
well, my comment was just on, when we say federal money, it's still our money. It's
Yeah.
still taxpayer dollars, whether it comes
No,
federal, state.
Oh, yeah, if we were having this discussion with the FAA, I'd be saying no. But our fiduciary duty is to the county and county taxpayers. Now, I may pick up and call my congressman and say, what the hell are you doing? But that's, because this is his bailiwick. But anyway.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? I'll go on record again that I voted against this. And
Mr. Chairman, last two you voted against. Could you share with us why?
I have a long-standing concern, the acceptance of federal money keeps us in the airport business. The discussion in my tenure here is that we have no choice but to be in the airport business, that we can't close an airport. I had discussions with former congressmen that weren't so sure that that was the case. Sometimes I have found that I don't know what you want to call it, the lore, it's just a verbal, that maybe that's not the right, I don't want to call it folklore because that makes it sound not real, but sometimes we just accept what's been said by previous legislators or county executives or law department people without it ever really being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you just say, oh, okay, well, I guess that's how it is, and then you tell the next person that's how it is.
Then, yeah,
And-
that's how the frog gets cooked in the water.
and it's never really been looked at, and my conversations with a particular former congressman seemed very strong. He wasn't so sure. I've never pushed it. I've never looked into it, but when we do accept this federal money, we are in the airport business for the amount of time that they deem the project has a lifespan for. Like, we get $4 million for a runway, and they put maybe a 20-year lifespan on that. So we stay in the business for 20 years, or you pay the grant money back. And we've accepted so much grant money, even since I've been here. It would be nearly impossible to pay it back. So if we did have the opportunity to get out of one of the airports, we couldn't do it, even if we wanted to. So I guess it's just kind of a matter of principle that
No,
I just can't support that.
But
And
you raise a good point, but I guess the data question is, what is the county's cost? You know, let's just looking forward 20 years, net, and, you know, we get money in from the feds, but we spend money, so what's our net cost of being in that business?
well,
I mean, that's the number that would, you know, cause me to jump one way or the
well,
other.
I mean, I think the budget hit or whatever it costs is around $800,000 a year for the two airports.
County share.
For the county share, yes.
So we could presumably over time save half of that, for example.
For example, and I also, Tom just said earlier, federal money, local share is always the toughest hit. State is like your brother, and federal is like your cousin paying for it.
Well,
you
actually,
know?
it's actually my grandkids and my kids.
But
yes.
it's all our money. So that's where I'm at, Fred, with the no vote.
No, so, but that's, yeah, it's good information, because if it's, you know, this is costing us $400,000 a year per airport to be in that business, and that's the number we ought to, from our direct responsibility, ought to be looking at. And I certainly sympathize with, you know, paying tax dollars to the feds.
Right.
I do plenty of that,
My other
but I'll take that
struggle,
up with the congressman.
my other struggle is I've been here through 2 studies, what we're gonna do with the airport. And I've never heard any comeback, this is what we're gonna do, you know? And it seems, and this isn't a knock on John or anybody that's been here, it just seems like we're in the airport business and we do business as usual. And I guess I would like, and we've talked about it and we're gonna talk about it, and I just want a plan, you know? Rather than every year we just do this. I guess I'm just looking for more of a plan.
All right, well, okay, so thanks for that.
Yep.
That's good perspective.
Okay. Where were we? No, we
All in
voted,
favor?
okay. Proposed resolution number 9, acceptance of fund from the FAA and DOT for the design phase of the project for the rehabilitation of taxiway A West at Chautauqua County Dunkirk Airport.
So this is designed taxiway A West in Dunkirk, similar to the Jamestown apron project. It's a rehabilitation of the taxiway A Alpha West. The need is determined by the measurement of pavement management index, which gives you estimate of remaining lifespan quality there. If we rehabilitate it now, it's less than full reconstruction in the future. It may extend the life up to an additional 20 years for that taxiway. If we don't do the rehabilitation, you know, that's gonna we'll have to continue to do additional crack sealing, pit patching, things like that. That all comes directly out of our budget, county budget. The Airport Commission has recommended this, and the county resolution 34624 authorized application for funds based on the 5-year capital improvement plan, and it's 95% federally funded, 2.5 state and 2.5 local.
So taxiway A is the taxiway from the terminal out to the west end of runway 24?
So, taxiway Alpha West, so it's actually, it would be the taxiway from the terminal to the start of runway 6. Or the west end of 24, I guess we're talking the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going from the terminal
Yes.
west.
Yes.
Because that's the short one. The long one's going the other way.
Yes.
Again, just note, 143,000 to design. All right. Well, again, it's the federal money, so.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And again, for the record, I oppose that in public facilities, so I guess I oppose it here. Okay, flipping the page over, we're on number 10, proposed resolution acceptance of funds from the FAA and DOT for the design phase of the project for the removal of on-airport obstructions from runway 725 and 1331 approaches.
We've got an amended one of these on our desk that
Right.
removes the on-airport bit.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm sorry, on your desk is the amended version.
So this resolution involves removal and mitigation of obstructions that are in or will be in the near future in the approach pass of runways 25, 7, 1, 3, 3, 1 at Jamestown. This is necessary to ensure safety for the pilots, passengers, and residents in the area, and maintaining the approach pass, which the county is responsible for. It's also required for our Part 139 certification from the FAA. The Airport Commission has recommended this, and the County Resolution 34724 authorized application for aid for the project. Again, 95% federal, 2.5 state, and 2.5 local share.
What are we talking about here? Trees?
Trees generally are the most likely obstruction, but there may be other things as well. Could be, you know, a tower, a barn, things like that, and we would mitigate that with lighting, things like that.
But nobody's built any towers or barns there in the last 10 years, have they?
Can't speak for certain on that.
So we're dear me, 159,000 to design, cutting down a whole bunch of trees. Really?
Well, so there's, you know, there's a lot that goes into determining what trees to cut.
Okay. Just,
That, you know, it's more than, let's just take these trees, right? It's based on the approach pass, the width of those approach pass, the angle of the approach pass.
none of which has changed, right?
Maintaining a certain angle. Well, the approach path tolerances haven't changed, but the obstructions have changed.
Sure, the trees have grown.
So the trees have grown, that may mean that a certain tree is left, a certain tree is taken, things like that.
Okay. I think just as a matter of principle, I'm gonna vote no on this one.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay?
And for the record, I voted no, so I guess that carries into this committee also.
Good, well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, proposed resolution number 11, authorized grant application for 2025 CDBG funding through the New York State Office of Community Renewal, Septic and Wells Program.
Good morning, folks. This resolution is seeking approval to apply for a grant that will assist low and moderate income folks with septic and well replacement. At the meeting, the full legislator meeting next week, we'll hold our first public hearing. So we'll take questions, explain the program thoroughly, and take questions from the public as well.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
You may.
What is low and moderate income person specifically in this?
Sure, so I will actually be sharing a handout with you folks as well in advance of the public hearing, but the 2025 income limits are set, at the federal level. So for a one-person household, the maximum income allowed would be $49,600. And I have a whole chart that I'm happy to share with you with all of the different household member numbers and associated income levels.
So, because I think this is a great program, but just going back to kind of Westfield experience, we get a whole lot of pressure to put water, let's say, up and down Route 5. Why? Because the ability to drill wells there is hard. The beneficiaries, of course, are all the people who have houses up and down Route 5 because the value of their houses is going to go up. They all knew full well when they bought their houses, no pun intended, what the water situation was. So this ends up being largely a subsidy to people who knew what they were getting into in the first place. That's one case. So this kind of spending is in many cases a more cost-effective way of getting water where it belongs than running 8-inch and 12-inch pipes for 5 miles, which I think we've got coming up here in a moment. And so hence my question about the caps on it and how it plays against some of these larger projects.
There are certainly areas in this county that are never going to get public water or public sewer. So yes, programs like this are beneficial for certain. Yeah.
Well, but there are also areas who want public water who really don't deserve it, but could use this and in fact solve their problems much more cost effectively.
I hear your point for sure. I think there are benefits of expanding public water and sewer from a public health standpoint as well. Whether folks are necessarily fully aware of what they're getting into with septic systems and wells. I would say I would love that to be the case. However, in our experience of doing the property transfer inspections, there are a lot of people who have no idea what they're getting into when they sign up for well water and septic systems. Quite honestly, there's a lot of people with wells and septic systems that have no idea what they're doing with them.
Yeah, I've been in the well and septic
Yeah.
use for a long, long time, and you are absolutely correct. But you know what? I'm not really in the mood of spending money on people just because they're being stupid.
I understand.
We've got better uses for taxpayer monies than just dealing with stupidity.
I understand.
Anyway. Good system, this. We should use more of it.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? carried.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks. Number 12, proposed resolution authorize acceptance of 2025 Exhale Grant Award.
Good morning. Steve Dando, Grant Coordinator for Office for Aging Services. I'm here to present the proposed resolution to authorize the acceptance of the 2025 Exhale Grant Award. The amount for this grant award is $5,000. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it is to help supplement our ADCSI grant, which is the Alzheimer's Disease Caregiver Support Initiative. And it's, in effect, just covering expenses that we've already budgeted for, and they're just giving us a little bit more money to help us with that.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions, concerns, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Awesome.
Thank you, Steve. Proposed resolution number 13, FY 2023 Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant Program.
Noel Gutman, Director of Emergency Services.
Good morning, Bonnie Peters, Principal Account Clerk, Emergency Services.
Hang on one second. So this is amending this. So on your desk, we have an amended version. So I'd like to have a motion to accept this one, to substitute the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor of
All right.
amending?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're now in amended form.
All right, Mr. Chairman, sorry about that. This was my error. So, when I presented the original one, how I wrote it was that it was really a new grant, and it's not. Back in January of '24, we had already brought this grant forward and were given approval for the county exec to sign it, to accept it. It's for training. So it was originally to end December of last year, but due to weather, we were unable to, the person who was coming to do the training was unable to get here due to weather. So we reached out and asked for an amended time to have the class through the ending of June. We were given that approval. So this, both revenue and expenditure were not done in '24. They were done in '25. But when we did our budget last year, we didn't know that we wouldn't be able to have the class. So it was not put into last year. It was only accepted last year. This puts the revenue and the expense in this year. Oh, and I should say, the in-kind that it says, that is our staff costs. So that is already a part of our budget to begin with, that $4,000 in-kind. That was for our staff who works on these grants. So that's already a part of our
I thought
budget.
this looked familiar.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. This is good. Questions, comments? Concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Take Next is to proposed resolution authorize acceptance of the gun-involved violence elimination grant funds for 2025, 2026.
Good morning, committee. Madeline Contiguglia for the District Attorney's Office. The resolution that we have before you today is to authorize the acceptance of the gun-involved violence elimination grant for 2025-2026. We call it the GIVE grant for short. It is a grant that we've received for several years through the Division of Criminal Justice Services to investigate and prosecute gun violence, drug offenses, and other violent crime in Chautauqua County, but primarily in the city of Jamestown. Chautauqua County as a whole was awarded $738,212 for the grant period, which is July 1st of this year through June 30th of next year. The City of Jamestown Police Department will execute their own contract with the state for their portion of the funds, which was $309,980. The other partnership in this grant is the District Attorney's Office, the Office of Probation, and the Sheriff's Department. The resolution that we have for you today is to execute the portion of the funds that was awarded to Chautauqua County, which was $428,332 in total. The breakdown for the District Attorney's Office was a total of $278,300. The Office of the Sheriff was awarded $113,432, and the Office of Probation was awarded $36,500. The amounts awarded for this year exceeded the budgets for 2025 in the Office of the Sheriff, the DA's office, and probation. Chairman Shagnon did point out a typo in the 6th whereas clause. It should have included probation. It did not. That was my mistake. I apologize. The portions that are included in 2026 will be included in all of the office's tentative budgets for 2026 that we'll present to you in October. So we're asking for you to please authorize the acceptance of the funds, but also to make an amendment to each department's budget for 2025. For the DA's office, it's for personnel, training, and some supplies associated with running the program. For the Sheriff's Office, it is for personnel, for overtime details, and the partial salary of a field intelligence officer. And for probation, it is for overtime and specialized trainings related to the program and performing the requirements of the program. Each amendment for each department is budget neutral.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
a couple of questions. Number one, please, this is a nice grant, great. What strings come along with it in terms of mandates, if any?
There are no mandates associated with it. We are required to just prosecute firearm offenses, which the DA's office would normally do anyway. I guess the mandates for the probation and sheriff's department are that they would run joint details with the Jamestown Police Department to target specific areas where there's high violent crime and high firearm offenses, and to do compliance checks on probationers that have a conviction for a GIVE eligible offense. But the funding is associated with that, so there's no extra expense to the county. It's fully funded. You know, Mr. Card asked yesterday in public safety, if the funding were to go away, what would happen? We would just not run the details.
Okay. So then that provokes another question. The 309 or the 310,000 for Jamestown is boosted some more by the requirements of the sheriff of doing stuff in Jamestown.
The amount awarded to the Jamestown Police Department included the joint details with the
Okay,
Sheriff's Department.
Good enough. Then the other question is just an accounting kind of thing. So personal services, district attorney, $44,000. So that's salaries, right?
Yes, that's the salary of an ADA that's allocated full-time to GIVE, and partial salary for an ADA allocated to GIVE-related offenses in the city of Jamestown specifically. Our office budgeted fairly conservatively for 2025, just because we weren't sure what the award was going to be. So that's where you're gonna see the increase in the personal services.
All right, so then my accounting question is, I see employee benefits, 26,000 against comp of 44. So normally you would have a compensation rate and the benefits would be a function of that. But to have a function to be in excess, well in excess of 50% of comp just
That would be
probes
because
the question.
the 2025 budget amount for the DA's office was approximately $50,000, so it barely covered the half of the salary of the ADA assigned to this program. So the 44,000 is to increase it to cover the remaining amount of his salary, and the 26 is to cover the full benefits. So essentially, what we budgeted for 2025 didn't include any benefits.
Okay, so we weren't, part of this is covering an unbudgeted thing
Yes.
that should have been budgeted relative to that half salary?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proposed resolution, amend 2025 budget for Office of the Sheriff.
Jim Quattrone, Chautauqua County Sheriff.
Riley, I'm the office co-supervisor. This first resolution we have in front of you is to amend the budget in the sheriff's department and specifically in our grants department. We are asking to increase our appropriations in equipment, $257,458, and then increase our revenue accounts, some federal aid accounts and New York State aid accounts, $257,458. This is a budget neutral amendment. And it just allows us to purchase some much needed equipment through these grants.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. 16, proposed resolution, amend the 2025 budget for Office of the Sheriff, E911.
Again, this budget resolution is for the E911 department. It's an amendment to increase appropriations under contractual, specifically for software maintenance of $11,000, and then increase our revenue account under non-property tax items, $11,000. This is also a budget neutral amendment.
So if I could, just on this one and the last one, it says some expenses have exceeded budget, but there will be some incremental revenues. So the incremental revenues in this case are what?
Mr. Johnson, would you
Yeah.
be able to speak up?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
So this one and the last one, you mentioned some expenses have exceeded the budget. What expenses were those that exceeded the budget?
So on the last one, specifically equipment, we didn't budget for this equipment because we didn't plan on purchasing it this year.
Okay.
But we did have the grant funds for it. We had reallocated our grant funds to purchase this equipment.
Got it.
For the current resolution, the E911 software maintenance, typically a grant covers some of the software maintenance, but due to delay in the grants, we have to pay for the software. It's for daily operations. And then hopefully, once the grant comes in, it will be within performance period that we'll actually be able to pay for it with the grant.
Got it.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So it says receive revenues, and this is in this resolution 16, from where? And it says whereas the office of the sheriff will receive revenues, is that the grant money you're talking about?
So, no, not specifically. This is the surcharge money that we get for E911. There's a reserve fund for E911, but we also receive funds throughout the year, specifically for E911 purchases that can only be used for E911.
Okay.
So we're hoping that our revenue will offset it, but when the grants come in, if the grants are within the performance period, we will pay for it, basically reimburse E911.
Okay.
Anything else?
No?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Proposed resolution number 17, amend the 2025 budget for the Office of the Sheriff, W911.
Again, this is for the W911 department. We're requesting to increase our appropriations under contractual, $76,729, and increase our revenue under non-property tax items, $76,729. This is again for some software maintenance grants. We just haven't received the grants yet. Delay in performance periods. It is a budget neutral amendment as well.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Sure.
Are you expected to receive the revenues? I mean, you feel confident that you're gonna receive them?
Yes, we expect to receive either the revenues of the surcharges, or we would have to use our reserve balance that is specifically earmarked for W911.
Got you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proposed the resolution number 18, approving labor contract with DSACC. That's the
Morning.
Deputy Sheriff's Association of Chautauqua County.
Awesome job, Mr. Scudder.
Thank you very much.
Debbie Mikowski, Director of Human Resources. So my apologies for not clarifying the acronym.
That's what I'm here for, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you.
They don't call me MA for nothing. That's Mr. Acronym. I'm sorry for those of you that. Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay. We are happy to announce, we have a member-approved tentative agreement with DSAC. DSAC is our deputy sheriffs, deputy sheriff sergeants, crime scene analysts, investigators, senior crime scene analysts. They handle road patrol, and then in additional assignments, it's voluntary, correct, for the additional teams?
That is correct.
But your SWAT, your bomb squad, water emergency teams, I always get the acronym
WE,
incorrect.
water
WET.
emergency.
Yep.
Team.
So while we won't
What?
go into specific
Yeah.
details about negotiations out of the respect for the process, and when I say that, I'm referring specifically to specific details on the proposals. So, for example, we won't talk about what, DSTAC came in at, where that, back and forth was. However, you can imagine that emphasis was on wages, as it pertains to retention, inflation, and competition. So this group has 67 members. 37 of them participated in the vote, roughly 55% of their membership, and 100% voted to ratify the tentative agreement. So some of the specific details. We do have step eliminations within their salary schedule, basically to streamline advancement to the top. There was a top step adjustment to align with other agencies with the hopes of promoting retention. It is a 4-year tentative contract, 4% each year. And then we did obtain some proposal agreement where it would clarify or update contract language that would eliminate some of the administrative burden that we've seen, over the last few years.
Okay, thank you. Questions? No?
I have a quick question. Has retention been a problem for the sheriff's department? Or an issue, I guess?
I wouldn't say it's been a real issue. It's been an issue I think nationwide. I do like, and I've said this many times before, I think part of the reason we don't have retention issues is we have support for our officers. And that comes from our elected leaders, you guys, our legislature, our county executive. I like to think myself, I want our staff to know we support them. And I can tell you, our members recognize the support they get from the legislative body. And I think that is a big step in our retention. So, other than retirements, we have we have a relatively young agency, and when I say young, in years of service, and young, I guess, chronologically as well, when you look at some of the officers that are working there, deputies.
So, historical question, if I could. What were the wage increase rates going back 3 years?
Well, just because we discussed this yesterday, I've prepared to answer that. They were, the last contract, they were 2.5%, which is, I'm looking over at Kitty because she shared this yesterday, which was at that time well below the inflation rate.
Right.
And so while these numbers, as Mr. Nebo pointed out yesterday, are above the inflation, it's kind of in an attempt to play catch up. And I'll look at Kitty because I just copied everything she said, but maybe not as accurate as she would have said it.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean, I didn't conspire with anybody from yesterday, but that was exactly where I was going.
Okay.
All right. And so, I mean, if, just personal bias, if of any department I would be willing to exceed inflation, it'd be this one. But writ large at a county level, we have a fiduciary responsibility to buy labor at a competitive price relative to inflation and to the regional and national economies. And so that's why we need to watch out for this versus inflation. But clearly for the last 3 years, 2.5% was below inflation, so, okay.
I just have a comment. I have kind of mixed, I mean, as a county legislator, I'm like, and from a family of cops, I'm all for this. But I worry about the city of Jamestown, you know, because we're all looking for good officers. And I think it could make it tough for them to compete in that. And I don't know where their salaries are compared to the county and compared to New York State. I know the state seems to be higher for state
I would
police.
say New York State is higher, as is Jamestown.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and I did have a conversation with somebody from the city yesterday.
Okay.
And that same concern was expressed to me. We don't have enough openings to take anybody. I mean, we have some openings. We just don't have bodies to fill them. We have, I believe, 8 people in our academy currently. Good for them. Those 8 will likely, as long as they get through the academy, have positions in this county if they choose to stay in the county, which we hope they will. But I think every police agency in this county has vacancies. I also know a majority of them have also, over the last few years, increased salaries intentionally for the same purpose. I think Jamestown is on the, like we are as a multi-year contract. I'm not sure when their contract is up, coming up though.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just on, I hope that wasn't too loud. As my recollection, so this group did bring in, they did their research and brought in comps for the discussion. And it's my recollection that right now, they were the lowest paid of the agencies that they shared comps with, and that's just in Chautauqua County. So this proposal puts them not right at the top, but in a much more competitive place or in line with their peers at other agencies in the county.
Thank you, Kitty.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
And I think I said at the last meeting, I'm gonna vote in favor of all three of these because if nothing else, that didn't sound right, nothing else, but to show my support for law enforcement
Mr.
in
Chairman.
general, but specifically the sheriff's department.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a similar comment. I have experienced and received significant support from the sheriff's department, and I have watched how professional it has been run, and so I'll be definitely voting to support it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Number 19, approving labor contract with CSEA Unit 6322.
Okay, all right, so we are also happy to announce we have a member-approved tentative agreement with CSEA 6322. This unit is our part-time deputy sheriffs and court officers, so they handle security in this building and within our court systems. This group is, they have 33 members. 24 of them participated in the vote, roughly 73%, and 100% of them voted to ratify. So some of the higher level key points, we applied step eliminations. I think they went from 4 steps down to one step. So they will have one rate of pay within this unit. There's a one-time bonus of $500 to be paid the end of February 2026. It is a 4-year contract. 2026 is a dollar adjustment to the one remaining hourly rate, and bringing anyone who was not at that top step, bringing them up to that step. 27, 28, and 29 are 2.5% each year. And then again, we did obtain an agreement to clarify and update quite a few provisions within the contract that were an administrative burden.
Comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
We're gonna,
Stay put.
Kitty, go a little out of order here, and as long as we got them up here, we've got one more resolution, so we'll let you guys get back to business. That's on your desk. It's approving labor contract CCSA, and the SS is Secret Service, so.
What?
Not really.
Sheriff supervisors.
Sheriff supervisors, and I believe this would be the lieutenants.
It is, correct, correct. So lastly, as of this past Monday morning, we have a member-approved tentative agreement with CCSSA. As you said, this is our lieutenants group. They manage the members in DSAC and 6322. They are 7 members. All 7 participated in the vote, 100% voting to ratify. Some of the higher level key points. First year adjustment to address compression with their direct reports. So, thinking of, we went through contract negotiations with 6322 and DSAC. So as we are making wage movement with them, we need to consider CCSSA, who now manage them. So their direct reports are compressing on their 2025 salaries. And to promote retention. It is a 4-year contract. 27, 28, and 29 are 4% each year. And then we obtained some of the similar language clarification to, kind of get rid of some of the administrative nightmare situations.
Just a question. So dealing with that compression, is that included, or that consideration included in the 4% going forward? Or was that a separate amount not quantified here?
That was applied to 2026, and then the last 3 years of the contract were 4%.
So the last 3 years of the contract ending in 2026 were 4%. And no, so I'm just trying to figure out what that compression thing cost us.
I can't tell you what it cost, but that was, instead of getting 4% in 2026, they
We
moved up the
made
salary
that
for
move.
2026 and then went 4% from there for the next 3 years.
Okay,
4% per year for the next 3 years.
but the unionized people under them went up 2.5%, I think. So if you were maintaining gaps, you would have gone up 2.5%, roughly.
With just the part-time, so these 7 lieutenants, they supervise both the part-timers, which was a 2.5%,
And
as well as the first resolution we did with the 4%. Does that make sense? So they supervise all the previous,
so a mix of the two.
yes.
Gotcha.
Majority of them would, so the 2.5%, the one we just did was our part-time, they're the ones
Right.
that work in this building, our court security, as well as some other court security. We have just unfortunately only 2 part-timers that are working out on the road and doing transports for us right now. So we have a couple lieutenants that oversee them as well as collateral duties.
Okay, so roughly weighted average of 2.5 and 4.
I think, if I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to 20, proposed resolution authorizing the 2026 levy of participants' share of Chautauqua County self-insurance plan, workers' compensation costs. Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
Good morning, Kitty Crow, Director of Finance. The resolution before you is to set the participant rates for the 2026 workers' comp municipal plan. This is a refresher. The county administers a municipal-wide workers' comp plan. So these are essentially the premiums for the participants for 2026. We have seen a decrease in claims, and we were able to again reduce the overall premiums to the participants again this year.
So my question would be is that, especially as I look at villages and cities, the numbers don't seem to bear any resemblance to the population of those villages and cities, so how does this calculate?
The workers' comp plan covers the municipal workers, and the assessment to the participants, the municipalities, is based 40% on payroll, which is, how you would pay out a workers' comp claim is based on, in part somebody's salary, as well as their claims experience. So 60% of it is based on their claims experience, 40% is based on their payroll.
So I guess back at my little district, Westfield, for a small place, has got a big claims problem then. At 107,000 down at the bottom under villages, because their payroll isn't that big, so they must have had a
The payroll is nearly $3 million. Includes the fire volunteer fire departments as well are covered under the municipal plan. So I don't know if that's.
Well, I'm just comparing it to the other municipalities and going, Silver Creek's 18,000, Westfield's 107,000.
Yeah, I could look into the details of their claims experience for you, but yeah, they would have,
But-
they do have one of the higher payrolls compared to some of the others, and, their claims experiences does look to be high. It's based on a 5-year average of claims experience.
So, yeah, just, it would be interesting to me anyway, in terms of my district, of if we're being more expensive than we should be, why? And it's to the extent it's payroll, that would be interesting, and to the extent it's claims, that would be interesting.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, or
Or
both.
both.
Oh, it's a combination, and, it's what the salaries are for it's just the actual salaries of
Yeah,
the
that's
employees.
Yeah, that's the payroll piece of it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, we can dig into that later. But it just seems high, and I wonder what we're doing wrong.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Carried. We have one more resolution. It's on your desk. A resolution authorizing the issuance of $8,200,000 bonds of the County of Chautauqua, New York, to pay the cost of certain North Chautauqua Water District improvements.
Where'd that go?
So this resolution is for Phase 3 of the Water District. And in order to apply for various grant funds for this phase, some of the grantors, they require the county to have passed a bond resolution showing their intent to fund the project. It would not be, the district does not plan on, in the end, needing to borrow $8 million. It would just borrow for any amount less whatever grants we receive. And also, should we not be successful in receiving, a decent amount in grant funds, I think they would, be relooking at the project. But this bond resolution is required in order for us to move forward with the new round of WIA grant funding applications.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I understand this right, this is permission to go to the bond markets. My question is, who pays for the amortization and interest on these bonds going forward? Is it the water district or the county?
Yes.
The water
Yeah.
district.
Water District.
The water district. So the water district, once we issue bonds, which is generally not until after construction is completed, some cases we do get short-term interest-free financing from EFC during construction. But yes, and any borrowing for any district is the principal and interest is paid for by the district users.
Very well, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No, you already. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the county and the good of the committee? Seeing none? Hearing none? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Adjourned. Thank you.
All right, so,
See if you vote no, you don't have to sign.
that's true. So I have a question.
Man, here,
Two to
where
two.
did these go?
Tie in this committee, what does that